So John from the Killer Bits told me this is pretty fun, so let's go, KB. Random Seed. Okay, The Monster Inside, an audio-visual novella by Random Seed Games. Options. Yeah, okay. Start. Monster Inside, an audio-visual novella. My head pounded, ears still ringing silently. Some of the worst nightmares I'd had in years left me feeling like I'd been punched in the jaw. But just like any other day, I dragged myself to the office. There was another notice on the door from Mayor Vanetti's office. Permit's out of date. They didn't like me much and were trying to drown me in paperwork. It was a slow month, weeks since I'd had any real case to work on. So I passed the time pacing the office, smoking and staring at the mirror in the corner, safely covered with an old bed sheet. I don't dare look at my own reflection. I'm too afraid of what I might see. Afraid someday I might have to face what I really am. The girl came in so quiet, I nearly choked on my cigarette. Mister, please, you gotta help me, mister. Calm down. Sit down and talk slow. Okay, thanks. It's just no one will listen to me. Just tell me your tale, I'm listening. She eyed me with just a dash of suspicion as I tossed back my hand full of pills and chased them with a swig of whiskey. I could tell this might take a while. Her name was Lily. He told me she was his mistress, the man all over the newspapers, the infamous banker, Mr. Reginald Farnsworth. Mr. Farnsworth was a drunk, philandering bastard, but this girl seemed genuinely concerned that he had recently gone missing. Less concerned about the fact that Mr. Farnsworth's wife had just turned up dead in Central Park 2 nights ago. You don't understand. He just couldn't have done it. He hated his wife, but he couldn't have killed her. Everyone thinks it was him, and no one believes he. He's got to be in trouble. I ain't saying I believe you, but what makes you think he's in danger? Well, mister, Jack. You can just call me Jack. Jack, whoever did that to his wife must have been the one who took him. He would never left without me. He promised me. I'm sure Mr. Farnsworth promised this poor girl a lot of things. Please, the cops won't listen to me. They want to bring him in on charges. You gotta prove it wasn't him before they find him. Honestly, I doubt they are in too much of a hurry. Farnsworth had practically the entire police force in his deep pockets. Probably why they hadn't found much yet. If they found him and brought him in, it would be due to public pressure. Sometimes a mob with pitchforks is more dangerous than one man with money. You've got my curiosity, but you might not like what I find. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jack. Thank you, but please, be careful. I don't think this was just any murderer or a kidnapper. I think it was a beast. Beast. The word struck me funny, like when you jaw your elbow on a hard corner. Not a word many use these days, except in hushed whispers and bedtime stories for children. Oh, they were real enough, all right. They just get better at hiding, controlling their unseemly urges, but I hadn't seen any monsters in nearly 15 years. Back when I was still a cop myself. Well, Well, that's definitely an interesting theory. I just... having a feeling about it. Something tells me you can get to the bottom of it. You're good at this sort of thing. She's the beast. Sure, can't you see how busy I am with the cases? I replied a little too harshly. Sarcasm wasn't my strong suit. I reassured her some more and sent her on her way. I didn't want to scare her, but I warned her before she left to keep her doors locked and call me if she saw anything suspicious. I didn't know if she was in any danger herself, but better safe than sorry. That night, I made my way down to Central Park. It was a long shot, but maybe there was something there the cops had missed. Next chapter. The scene was already picked clean by the cops days ago. But I've got a knack for finding the thing others overlook. Playing Phoenix, right? A knack. More of a symptom of a condition. Other, less useful symptoms I kept in check. But for the time being, my keen sense of smell would come in handy. Wait, are we Bigby? It was faint, but I could smell it before it even approached the police line. The scent was less of a thing and more of an emotion. Seduction. A strangely familiar smell. I expected the scent of trepidation, or maybe even outright fear. But Miss Farnsworth seemed to have been at the height of pleasure when she left this world. She got banged and killed? Brought new meaning to a crime of passion. Pushing the thought from my mind, it was time to get down to business. Investigate the scene. Muddy footprints everywhere, difficult to pick up. Anything from the prints the cops left behind in their haste. But cops don't wear 2,000 pairs of kinknos. It looked like Mr. Farnsworth was it. Looks like Mr. Farnsworth was there all right, and walked away on his own 2 feet. Let's get the scene. A burn mark on a nearby tree caught my eye. I ran my finger along its length and felt a chill down my spine. This wasn't just any burn mark. This was the mark of an ancient magic. It's doubtful the cops would have picked up on it. Could Lily have been right? Something unusual was at play here. But I was no stranger to the strange. After looking around for a while longer, I realized the park had given up all it was hiding from me. So I trudged back to my apartment, and my head hit my pillow like it owed me money. Next chapter. Maybe she got banged too hard and she died. Can't tell if that's a compliment or not if you bang someone to death. Like, not on purpose, but it was just that good. That'd be a terrible curse. So, you know. The next morning I was reeling from another bout of ghoulish nightmares. But I tried to hide my discomfort when I saw Lily was already sitting outside my office. She waited wordlessly as I unlocked the door, and wrote down another notice from the mayor's office. I motioned for her to step inside. Seemingly afraid of what I might say, she finally worked up the courage to ask. So, what did you find? Okay, I don't know about beasts, but there was something supernatural at play here. Unnatural. Unnatural? How do you mean? A spell's mark. Rarely seen these days, but unmistakable. What does that mean? What about Reggie? You know where he might be? Found his footprints. Seems like he got away safely. My tone was indifferent towards her as I turned and grabbed a bottle from my desk drawer. A dryness in my throat made it difficult to swallow my meds. But you don't know where he went? Do you think the news this morning is related? What news is that? Haven't you heard? Yeah, but maybe you should tell me what you know. They found the police chief's wife dead by the docks. They say it happened last night. Let me guess. Chief Amato was missing too. My face might have betrayed a hint of satisfaction as she confirmed my suspicion. But it faded quickly. Amato was a shit cop and a shit chief. He was half the reason I left the force. But now his wife was dead and I had more questions than I did the day before. The gears in my head started to spin, which wasn't helped by the splitting pain in my temples. I told Lily I needed to work, and she left slightly dejected, wanting more answers than I could provide. That night after the cops had cleared out of the docks, I would slip down and see what I could uncover concerning Miss Amato's untimely demise. Chapter 4. The cold air smelled strongly of salt and oil, and... could it be? That smell again. Like someone had bottled pure arousal and used it as perfume. It hit me like a long-forgotten memory, but the sensual fumes soon gave way to a rush of adrenaline. I knew exactly what the scent reminded me of, and that scared me more than not knowing. I looked down at my hands, shaking. The nightmares, the headaches. No, I was better now. Reformed. I had to focus. No jumping to conclusions. Follow the evidence. Is he thinking we're the killer? Investigate the scene. Red Phoenix cigarettes. Same shitty brand I smoked every day. Everyone's got their vice. Okay, that's a clue it's him, isn't it? There, just there. The smallest piece of purple fabric, torn and caught in the splinter of a board. The police didn't report it, the police didn't say anything about Miss Amato wearing purple. And it was certainly of a quality that you wouldn't expect down here. Don't see too many high society types around flaunting royal purple threads. I pulled out my own pack of reds and lit it up. I could already feel another headache coming on, but looking out over the waves seemed to help me forget. The cold helped me push down the uncomfortable thoughts that had been bubbling at the top of my brain. Next chapter. I honestly don't remember the walk back to the office. Apparently I spent the night in my easy chair. The air from the docks lingered on my clothes. It was still dark out. No, I checked the clock. How long had I been out? Had I really slept through the entire next day? A newspaper was sitting under the door. As I stood to fetch it, I nearly fell over. A wave of nausea hit me like a ton of bricks. I steadied myself and regained my composure. Before I even picked up the paper, I got her to read the headline. Breaking, mayor missing, wife found dead. 2 cases of coincidence, 3 is a pattern. The cops would come asking questions soon. They knew I had a history of antagonizing all the victims. I stumbled to my desk and slammed back 3 days' worth of inhibitor pills. I couldn't take any chances. I had to investigate the scene to be sure. I threw on my jacket and went to the door. Lily caught me off guard on the other side. Jack, where are you off to? I've been trying to reach you all day. I've just been busy. I'm off to Miss Vinetti's crime scene. Okay, but we need to talk when you get back. Stay safe. She gave me a soft kiss on the cheek as I rushed off. Part of me wanted to stay and tell her it would be okay, but it would be a lie. Next chapter. The alley was located just behind the high-rise apartments where Mayor Vinetti and his wife lived. I could tell the police were spooked now. The crime scene was even sloppier than the last. They hadn't even bothered to submit the trash into evidence. Why wouldn't they at least look through the dumpster? It seemed untouched. No one wants to do the dirty work. But I know how to find the good stuff. It really doesn't take long if you know what to look for. Lightweight bags usually mean someone was dumping documents. If you're lucky, they didn't bother to shred them. Jackpot! Shell companies, shady stock trades, bribes. I knew the mayor, Vinetti, was crooked, but this was unbelievable. And there was more. Letters between Mayor Vinetti and Chief Amato. Talking about me. How they were trying to get me shut down. They didn't like me snooping around crime scenes all the time. Well, they weren't here to stop me snooping around this one. Vinetti's car. If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left his... If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left in his car? It didn't make any sense. I honestly wasn't too motivated to find him, but the stakes were too high, and my bet was edging towards the unthinkable. As I searched around for anything that might assuage my fears, I caught the scent again. It overwhelmed my other senses with undulating pleasure. It was intoxicating. A weapon used on the weak-willed. A weapon I knew all too well. Though it had been many years since I had used it. Was there another like me? Was I being framed? It wasn't possible, was it? I was taking my inhibitors. I was reformed. But the nightmares, the headaches, the memory lapses. I couldn't even trust myself. I started walking back out the alleyway when something shiny caught my eye. A watch. Not just any watch, though. My watch. How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I first came down the alley. I checked the time just before I left the office, hadn't I? Or had I used the wall clock? I couldn't be sure. I couldn't be sure of anything. So I ran. Next chapter. I don't know why I ran back to the office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and cart me away. They would put it together before long. Maybe it would be best for everyone if I simply faced my own reflection. But Lily was still waiting for me. Jack? What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. My own ghost came back to haunt me from the past. You're not making any sense, Jack. Come sit down. You don't understand. You're not safe around me. I took a good last look at her as I prepared to shove her out of the door. I noticed she was wearing the same thing she had when she first came to my office 3 days ago. A beautiful purple dress. So it is her. Odd that I hadn't really noticed before, but it made her seem out of place. Out of time. And it was frayed around the edges. Torn in pieces. Torn in places. My chair caught my fall as my knees failed me. It was you! You are the monster! Succubus! Oh, Jack. We are one and the same, you and I. We are both monsters. I'm simply more honest with myself. She did bang them to death. There's no such thing as reformation. Those pills you take only make you dull. Beasts like us should never suppress our true natures, as you have, Incubus. Those men were probably dead too. Now I figured. She probably took them to her lair and harvested their seed. So, you've done all this just to wake me up? You could say that, though it seemed enough just to have you doubt yourself. You believed you were still capable of such horrors, which means deep down you probably are. Can't escape it. Now I need you to complete the deed. You took my watch, messed with my head. Oh, don't act like I didn't do you a favor. Those men hated you, and wanted you gone, and now they are gone. I mustered the strength to stand again, moving casually to the window by the corner. She was right about one thing. I was dull, weak compared to her. If I refused her and she attacked me, I was a dead man. I had to keep talking. I never met a succubus who seduces and kills women. Oh, please. Such a 14th century stereotype. I don't discriminate when it comes to pleasures of the flesh. But I do still need an incubus like yourself to take the tainted seed I've harvested from those awful men and plant it among the fertile masses for me. I don't understand the rules of incubus and succubus, apparently. All I know is succubus sucks people to death. I'm tired of draining my levers just to survive. I'm ready to settle down and start a family. That maniacal laughter. I positioned myself carefully, making sure she was looking at my direction. Sorry, but I'm not your guy. With a quick flick of my wrist, I whipped the old bedsheet off the corner mirror. Lily was blinded by her own reflection and sucked into the mirror with a painful, monstrous scream. Trapped. Shielding my own eyes, I pulled a revolver from my desk side drawer, aimed it at the mirror, and fired. If an incubus bangs a succubus, does he die? Or do they just make children? Because if you get banged to death, because it's that good, and you can't die from it, I'm on board. But if you die from it, I'm not on board. That was the last line? That's it! So that was an interesting story there. So this game was just a Noir story, huh? Ah, more random seed games. So this was an ad for other games. Explore the vast terrains of Mars generated from real NASA satellite data and survive by discovering randomized supply caches and habitats. Adventure in an otherworldly first-person sandbox. Time frame. Time is relative. Sometimes 10 seconds can feel like an eternity. In time frame, you'll discover a world in slow motion. Explore the remnants of a mysterious civilization on the brink of destruction. Interesting. Oh, that just brings up a page. Oh, this game came out in May. It's early access. Alright, we're not doing that one. Early access is early access. Let's look at the other one. Time frame. Time frame, July 7th, 2015. $8. Kind of curious, but is it a walking... It's just a walking simulator. So not as interested. Still, this game was pretty cool. Random Seed. That was pretty good storytelling. I am more interested in the next game they make. Unless Lacuna Passage is actually good. I don't know. Early access, though, is something I'm not the biggest fan of. But there you go. That was pretty interesting, was it? That was pretty interesting, wasn't it? I have fun playing, hope you have fun watching. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.